Dream jobs are a scam, and let me tell you why. This was me 8 months ago on the first day of my dream job, aka a doctor in the UK's NHS. You'd think this was the most meaningful, fulfilling, and rewarding career that there is. This was until I realised there's kind of no such thing as a dream job.
Dream jobs don't exist.
Dream and job really do not belong in the same sentence.
Whether it's becoming a lawyer, an astronaut, an engineer, an artist, a doctor, a physician assistant, in modern society, the highest reward for your effort and hard work isn't purpose, peace, or joy. It's a prestigious job title.
£100,000 salaries.
Sales is the highest paid industry in the entire world.
Commercial real estate is one of the best careers in finance for both pay and work-life balance.
There are some certified girl boss career paths, which you're probably not that familiar with.
What was once the chance to make a difference and help people becomes burnout and meaningless paperwork.
It's just not something I can do anymore.
By the time I realized I had to go, I think I was physically and mentally deteriorating.
I just simply can't bring myself to go through that torture again.
What was once exciting and rewarding ends up becoming draining and unsustainable. Let me tell you a story time about how my biggest dream, landing my dream job, didn't end up how I expected. Hey, if you're new, welcome to the cozy corner of the internet. I'm your host, Christina, and I help people stop shrinking and start living. This video is a long time coming. I have spoken about, alluded to, hinted about, I've spoken and alluded to this so much, I thought I may as well make a whole entire video on it. And I know a bunch of you guys are also in healthcare. You're also in academia. A bunch of you guys are doing PhDs. I know a bunch of you guys also are experiencing this existential crisis that is reaching your biggest dream and then not really feeling like it's what you wanted. So I wanted to have a really chilled, chatty video kind of exploring and unpacking this topic of, are dream jobs a real thing? Is there really such a thing as a dream job? Is it possible to work in a capitalist society that optimizes growth, revenue, money, and cost-cutting things, and to find a position that really will fulfill you internally from the inside out? Let's unpack. I don't know about your biggest dream, but my biggest dream growing up was to become a doctor. It was the stereotypical, oh, I want to help people. Oh, I love science. Oh, I want to make a difference. I was an only child. I had not that many friends growing up. My little hobby, exciting thing I would turn to in the evenings, on the weekends, was just studying. Genuinely loved biology. I found it so interesting. I would watch documentaries about it in my spare time. It wasn't just a school thing. It was oh no, I actually love this sort of a thing. I later became to realize that I'm not actually obsessed with biology. I actually just love learning in general. I think to some extent, that's why my YouTube channel, I just love it so much, because each video I get to learn something new. I did some experience, shadowed some doctors, read a bunch of books written by doctors. I wanted to learn as much about it as I could to make sure that I was definitely making the right decision, because I knew the road ahead of me to get into medical school was going to be a long one. It is not easy at all in the UK to get into medical school. It's very similar to the US system. The competition is severe. So once I'd read a bit, researched a bit, shadowed a bit, got experience, I was like, okay, yeah, I can see myself doing this. And I remember at the time, there were countless different political issues going on. There were strikes at the time where doctors were striking about the fact that they weren't being paid enough. Doctors in the UK at the entry level position earn pretty close to minimum wage. And what's interesting is back then I knew all this. I was like, okay, well, I want to do this. This is my dream. They're earning the minimum wage and they're striking about it. They're really unhappy. The working conditions are terrible and they're overworked, but I still want to do it. And maybe that was the naive 16, 17-year-old in me that didn't quite grasp what it means to fully earn money, and look after yourself, pay rent, pay bills on a near minimum wage salary. I didn't fully grasp that. So I remember seeing all the negative headlines and all the different political issues going on, and I was like, no, I still want to do it. Something I didn't pay attention to though, which I think maybe is where the "are the dream jobs a scam" thing ties into, is the job satisfaction. There are some jobs which have quite a bad reputation for being very, very draining and unrewarding. Teaching is one of them. At the moment in the UK, there are constant adverts on TV, on billboards, out in the streets, trying to get people into teaching. And the thing is with teaching in the UK is everyone knows it's a tough job. It is absolutely not a job you would it's rarely a job you'd actually want to do unless there was significant rewards that come along with the job. Unless you were getting amazing perks, a really good salary, I don't know, bonuses, the reputation around the job is so bad and the satisfaction of the job is so bad that people rarely want to do it. Some research I found that was quite interesting was by Pew Research Center. They found that nearly half of workers in the US are highly satisfied with their jobs. 67% are happy with their relationship with their co-workers, 59% are very highly satisfied with their commute, 49% are happy with the feedback they receive, 34% are happy with how much they get paid, and 33% are happy with the promotion opportunities at work. I didn't really spend time looking into the job satisfaction of being a doctor because it was such a dream of mine that I just thought, if I achieved this dream, that is enough satisfaction in itself. I didn't think at the time to investigate, are people happy in this job? Are people quitting, and why are they quitting? I just thought, no, it's a dream. It's going to be amazing anyway. Maybe you're also watching this video and you've, achieved your dream job or somewhere near about that. However, you've been severely underwhelmed and almost very, very surprised by the amount of pressure that is involved with this job or the toxic work environment. That was a big one for me. I'm going to get onto my reasons in a second, but I feel like when you go from full-time education to full-time work, even though you've had jobs prior, you've had weekend jobs or part-time jobs, you are a working person, but to full-time work in a very big industry or a big corporate environment, there's some things that you just don't quite expect or predict. Another thing with dream jobs, I'd love to know if you also maybe feel the same, but I feel like sometimes when you grow up as sort of the outsider, the weirdo, the person with no friends, and your current circumstances right now aren't ideal. Sometimes a dream or a vision of your future is such a huge motivator for you to keep going. For you to show up at school every day or to show up at college every day in a tough environment where you're not valued, you're not appreciated. Sometimes having a dream really carries you through. I know for a fact, dreaming about medical school, becoming a doctor, was one of the number one things that got me through such a tough time in school. So sometimes you can't help actually, but make it more of a fantasy than a reality, your dream job, because it's it is a fantasy. You are dreaming about it and thinking about all these cool things you're going to do, where you're going to work, the buildings you're going to work in, the uniform you'll put on. It feels like such a dream. And it has to feel like that in order to get you out of a very tough reality. Okay, so maybe you're wondering, why are dream jobs a scam? So I can only speak for my position. A huge issue I struggled with at the start was underappreciation. It felt like I would show up every day as a newbie at my job. I would give my absolute all, try my best, genuinely go above and beyond, arrive early and leave late. Literally, no one cares. I'm trying my hardest and I'm doing everything. I'm trying to hit all the deadlines and do everything on my list by the end of the day. But no one seems to value this. No one seems to value how much I'm stretching myself. And I remember speaking to my colleague who's in the same job, in the same hospital as me, and she was like, yeah, I feel the exact same way. It just feels like no matter what you do, no matter how you push yourself, literally no one cares. And this sort of culture can make you fall out of love with something very, very quickly. There's only so long you can give before you just really hit a wall and you're like, I'm not asking for very much, but it would be nice for me to show up and work hard, just like everyone else is working hard, but get a bit more appreciation or even feedback. And the thing is with healthcare is I feel like the healthcare system in the UK is running on such survival mode that there's really no room or space for you to thrive. Because everything is so stretched, everything is just, there's not enough funding to resource the department well enough, or it's on the small level of things. Sometimes we don't even have enough equipment to do a cannula, that I have to spend 20 minutes running to the next department to grab their stuff and then come back and then do the cannula. To do little things just takes double the amount of time because it's so underfunded. When I spoke to my mum about this, it was quite interesting because she said this is actually just quite common in all jobs. When I told her, oh, but I'll do this and I'll do that and I'll try and I'll do this and I'll speak to this person and I'll spend 30 minutes doing this, she's like, oh, that's normal. That's just work. It's very common for you to work in a job, in a position and not feel appreciated. That is normal. And I was like, oh, okay. It's not even I did the job hoping for I'm not asking for much. I also find another thing I grapple with the NHS in general and working as a doctor in the UK is so many of the issues in the NHS, the poor IT systems, if someone comes into hospital from this town, but they live in the next town, I literally can't see any of their records from the previous town. The systems aren't up to date enough to cross cover and share their share notes. There is no integration of AI. Like a lot of stuff that I'm doing, I feel more like a secretary, to be honest, than a doctor, because I physically type up the notes of the consultant, or I'll physically type up the notes of the discharge letter. And this is normal, but I feel like when you're like a really forward-thinking person that loves technology, loves software, I genuinely find AI really interesting. I think it's so helpful. I think it helps me quite a lot with my emails and with like planning things and writing things. And so when you're someone that's so like forward-thinking and you're working in a system that's just so outdated, sometimes it can just be frustrating, because you're looking at your day job and the tasks you're doing, and you're like, this could be automated. This is taking me half an hour, but an AI could do it in seconds. I could get so much more done. I wouldn't feel as burnt out. I wouldn't feel as stressed if I had a bit more help from the software. So another way I feel like sometimes your dream job can surprise you is by how outdated or behind it is, maybe technologically. And now I have to say, if there's any medical students or any other doctors watching this, I know, like for me, I know my issues aren't actually with medicine itself. I know my issues are more with the NHS. Like if the NHS was funded well and the IT systems were improved, those two things alone, I feel like would make me feel less stressed at work and less burnt out at work. I know I'd feel instantly better just with those two improvements. And I do have to say, I don't want this video to be like really depressing and like negative and focusing on all the bad parts, but the best part of my job truly is the people. Like the people I work with are the best part. My colleagues, the nurses, the other doctors, the patients are the best part. But then I guess going the other way on some of the negatives, sometimes the people can also be the worst part as well. Like every work environment will have its bad eggs and bad people that are just toxic and rude and not very nice and horrible. But I feel like in the NHS in particular, it's not even just me that thinks this. I've seen multiple articles, multiple posts on Reddit where just sometimes the environment in the NHS is just super toxic. Like when people are just simply asking you to do things or wondering why things aren't done yet, wondering why you haven't finished a letter yet. Like the attitude sometimes can be so condescending. And I feel like if you're a junior doctor, at the start of your career, you're the person that probably gets it the worst. Like I've been spoken down to by nurses before. Not to say that I'm above a nurse or a nurse is above me, but just surely we should all be working together cooperatively. But there's been multiple times where I've been spoken down to by a nurse as if like I've literally been stunned by what they've said to me, because I'm like it's that's so rude of you to say, or to hurry me up like that, as if I'm a secretary for you. The biggest thing I've had to come to learn with like having a dream job and having like a dream aspiration of what you want to do at work is that sometimes we forget what the ultimate aims are of the corporation that we're working for. One of the things that I've really had to learn the hard way with working in a big company or big corporation for the first time is that sometimes the reason why you are a bit surprised by how your job has actually turned out and you're not quite happy with it is because your objective as a worker is very different to the objective as a company. What you want from work and what work wants from you are two very different things. And sometimes when you sign up for your dream job, you maybe probably were only thinking about what you want from work, not from what your industry wants from you. And I've noticed where I work in the NHS, this shows up slightly differently. So my objective is like, I want to do the best I can for this patient and my team. Like I want to help all the patients that I'm looking after today. But oftentimes I find because the aim is to save costs, there's such a big culture around like getting people in and out quickly. Like that's another thing. I feel like your dream job becomes less of a dream job when you feel so rushed. I feel super rushed in a job. And I know there's probably going to be some baby boomer that's going to watch this, or someone in their 40s and 50s and be like, welcome to the real world. This is normal. I'm learning it's normal. I'm just sharing it for whoever else is also having a bit of a shock. Like, oh, this is the norm? Okay. Like I know it's the norm, but I'm just learning. This is me learning it's the norm. I feel like in your head, when you think about your dream job, you might even see yourself like, you know, being busy and like doing a lot of stuff. It feels more exciting when you imagine it. And then in reality, it's less exciting. It's more stressful. I'm going to have to stay till 8 p.m. to get this all done. Like it doesn't feel as exciting as it does in your head. I don't know if anyone else has had this like revelation or shock, but I also feel a bit like, I also realized my dream job wasn't my dream job anymore when I started to envision myself living as my boss. Like if you look at your boss, like this person senior to you, for me that's always like the senior doctor or the consultant, and I look at them and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to swap places with you one day. I'm gonna have to like step into your shoes and I'm gonna have to be the senior doctor. I'm gonna have to be the consultant. And I think about that vividly. Like I look at what they're doing and I look at them on their lunch break and I see how they're walking around. I just see how they interact with people. I just see how they show up and their vibe and their attitude and what they bring to the team. And I'm just like, ooh. Sometimes I see doctors and I'm like, oh yeah, you're such a great person. Like I really would love to be the sort of person that you are. But oftentimes I look at my boss and I'm like, yeah, no, if I have to stay here and become more like you, I don't know if that's quite aligned with me. You definitely know you're in the right job when you look at your boss and like you want to be them. Like you want to be doing what they're doing. You love how they show up. You love the energy that they have, like the persona that they have. Because the thing is, I feel like your job really infiltrates on your personality. Like if your job is asking you to show up and be really stressed every single day to get 14 hours worth of work done in 8 hours, if it's asking you to do that every single day, that takes a toll on who you are. Like we all have that person we are at work. And then we have the person that we are on the weekends. And I feel like sometimes when you're working a stressful job, you become less and less of yourself in your own spare time. Like you're spending so much time at work that when you're not at work, you're just recovering from work. And then you go back to work and then you recover from work. Like who you are gets a bit lost. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like you have to ask, what are you willing to work really, really hard for? Because every job has a price. Like there is no job that is kind of easy. Like every single job in its own way will require you to work really hard. And sometimes when I think back to choosing this career and like choosing it based on maybe the high moments, I thought it would be amazing to help save lives and to make a difference to someone's health. I chose the career based on the high moments. And I think maybe an interesting thing to think about would have been based on the really, really bad days of the job, like the worst of the worst days. If you have these, are you still willing to keep going and still keep grinding? Because if you think about it, whenever you purchase something like physically, like say you buy a new computer, you think about what you'll gain. Like, oh, I'm going to gain this shiny new laptop. It's the newest edition. But then you also think about in that purchase, okay, the cost, that's £1,000. Maybe it's like the MacBook Air or something. You weigh up the pros and the cons. And I think sometimes when it's a dream job, sometimes you focus a little too much on what you're going to gain. And sometimes that negative cost of the bad days, the low moments, the burnout, the exhaustion, you kind of brush that to the side. Like, oh no, I don't care though. I'm going to be in this amazing job. And yeah, I would love to know what your thoughts are below, because I'm speaking from a healthcare perspective, but I'm sure some of you watching are maybe in a different industry. What do you guys think? A harsh pill to swallow for me was realizing that your dream job won't feel like a dream job when you're stuck in survival mode. I've spoken about burnout a bit, but it's just a common thread. So I am going to bring it up again. In the field of work that I have in healthcare, it does very much feel like you're in survival mode a lot of work. The reason why you rarely take breaks or you're having lunch at ridiculous times is because there's so much to do. There's so much pressure. It genuinely feels like they're giving you 2 people's worth of work and they're telling you to do it in like a very short amount of time. The pressure is immense. And because the pressure is so immense, you're just in survival mode. You can't thrive. You can't bring your best foot to the table. And I feel like being stuck in survival mode every single day for your job takes a toll. Like there's only so long that you can be fighting for your life to get everything done in a high pressure environment at work on nearly minimum wage after you've spent 5 years at medical school, gotten into obscene amounts of student loan debt, and like carry on going thinking like this is what I deserve. A lot of us have a dream job that we think will actually be a place for us to thrive. Like we think, oh, I'm going to be able to bring my best. I'm going to be able to shine. I'm going to be able to be recognized for my hard work, and my hard work will go far. Whereas I feel like in my job, I don't know about you guys, I feel like I work hard and it's like a drop in the ocean. It's just like, oh, okay, yeah. Okay, you spent an hour doing that. Yeah, cool, whatever. And I'm like, no, guys, I fought for my life to get that done. You don't know how many people I called, how much I had to like look through and dig through the notes and find this and find like, it just feels like it doesn't matter. On the topic of it doesn't matter, I have found actually sometimes when you have that repeated thought of, is what I'm doing even like, does this even matter to anyone? Like, is this even meaningful? Because I've had that thought a couple times where it feels like I'm pushing and doing so much, but it's not even valuable. It does. Sometimes what I do feels a bit meaningless. And that is literally wild. You would think being a doctor, a literal doctor, is the most meaningful career. But again, maybe because I'm in the early days and I'm the one doing all the admin. I do all the paperwork. Like, my friend said it and I agree, like we are glorified secretaries pretty much. Maybe that's why it feels a bit meaningless, and maybe that's why there's like, I don't know, it just feels like sometimes it feels like, what is this all for? Like I don't know. I am going to make a part 2 on this because I feel like there is so much more I could say. And genuinely, there was a point a couple months ago where I actually nearly quit this job entirely. Like I made a TikTok about it that went viral. Was not expecting that video of literally nearly quitting my job. Like literally I was planning to have a meeting with my supervisor and be like, bro, I'm out, like I'm handing in my notice. To now I've actually kind of come to a place where I've made peace with the job, but I'm grateful now. I'm not in a position where like I hate the job or I even don't even like the job. Like I'm very much at peace with the job, and I want to make a part 2 on exactly how I got there. What my advice is for anyone else in their early 20s who feels a bit lost in their career and feels like this is not what I signed up for. The last thing I'll say on achieving your dream job and getting here and realizing like this is not what I expected is sometimes when you're a really young person who's very ambitious, is capable of a lot, you've probably done really well in school, or you've done really well in maybe sport, art, in theatre, whatever it is, and you're now wondering like, okay, where do I apply all these talents? Like where do I apply it? I have so much to offer and I have such talent behind me. Like what do I apply it to? Do I choose law, engineering, media, medicine? Like sometimes it's okay to realize and find out that maybe this wasn't the right choice, because there are so many other domains that you can apply yourself to and apply your talent to, and a lot of them honestly you wouldn't have even thought of. Like I would not have thought of me as the 16-year-old that loves biology and loves science to be a really good, I consider myself a good YouTuber that talks about psychology and emotional well-being. Like they're not the same and they're very different. So if you're feeling the same and feeling like you've been surprised by the world of work, you're not crazy, you're just human. What you want from work and what work wants from you are 2 different things, and that is what getting my dream job has taught me. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to stay tuned for part 2, where I'm going to be talking about how I kind of made peace with a very stressful, burnout prone job and some of my learnings and reflections from that. If you enjoyed this video, I know you're going to enjoy my weekly newsletter, link to that in the description box below, and I know you're going to enjoy this video. In this video I spoke about how a 4.0 GPA cost me my personality. Basically how studying hard, being the straight A student cost me like my whole sense of self. So if you enjoyed this video, I know you're going to enjoy that one too. I love and appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.